the EFF.
All right, I love that. Mandisa Hadebe representing SASCO. How are you, Mandisa?
I am good, thanks. How are you?
Ngiyaphila nami. Ithazezo sekhathini obhungani.
Yes, sibongani umthimkhulu mashiya mahle.
Sukanini madoda into ezimnandi ngisho ngoba phelile lalanga elikhulu we're celebrating Heritage Day, but we also have uMambo Mkhize. I believe that's okhabazela labo, right?
Oh, Cwabe madoda.
Oh, sukanini madoda. Uyayizwa le ndaba emnandi. She's an independent candidate. So how it's going to go, you guys? You all have 1 minute 30 seconds on the clock, each to introduce yourselves and of course give us your opening statements incorporating today's topic. Representation in the SRC ensures effective leadership. Of course, we just want to get your sense of your stance on it, right? We want to know where you stand with this topic as we speak to representation, whether racial, whether religious, whether gender, or even economic representation in the SRC. Sizoqala ngawe ecela okuhle, uyazisho uyasho ukuthi urepresenta liphi iqembu ubese ungena ke of course in your opening statement. Your time starts right now.
Kanimambo Leadership and all to all listeners, my name is Celokuhle Ramuiteki and I'm from the United Africans Transformation Tomorrow's Future, which is the youth wing of the United Africans Transformation, a political party, let's say a pan-African political movement with its roots anchored in our African traditional values and humility and excellence. About the topic today, the representation of the different race, gender, I would say it's all about the ability of the person to juggle the different societal challenges. You don't necessarily need to have a Jew, a Muslim, or Christian, or Hindu for the SRC to be effective. It's more about the leadership of the individual. The individual has to have the ability to understand the different challenges and weld them in the interest of students. We need to look at traits in respective of racial, religious, or gender. We are not saying someone can't be
Ngizakwena ke manje siswami representing iSASCO igama lakhe uMandisa Hadebe. And Mandisa, your time starts right about now.
Good afternoon to everyone listening to UJFM. I'm Mandisa Hadebe, representing SASCO, and I'm excited to be here with such a dynamic panel. As SASCO, we firmly believe that true leadership thrives on the principles of inclusivity and diversity. Racial, religious, gender, and economic representation within the SRC is not just about ticking the boxes. It is about ensuring that every student, regardless of their background, has a voice in decisions that affect their academic and social experiences. Effective leadership stems from the ability to understand and respond to unique challenges faced by diverse student communities. By ensuring that our SRC reflects the full spectrum of our campus population, we aim to create a leadership body that is empathetic and that calls for social justice. Thank you.
All right, there you have it. Gamalake uMandisa Hadebe representing the SASCO. Ungabuku ezinhle engiyezi kwena ngihambe ngenotion ka ladies first. Ngiyithanda kakhulu ukuthi sisi kufanele bayithole leyo ndawo ngiyinsizwe traditional like that, right? So we're going to move right along to you, Mambo Mkhize, an independent candidate, of course running for the UJAPK SRC later on this year. My lady, your time starts right about now.
Afternoon, everyone. As was said, my name is Mambo Mkhize. I'm an independent candidate running for the UJAPK SRC. I have 2 years of experience in student governance. More specifically, I was the chairperson of the Debating Society at UJ. I am the head RA at Libones Ladies Residence, and I am the current project coordinator for Amnesty International South Africa, specifically the UJ campus. So I believe that my full spectrum of experience will really equip me to represent the student body in two specific ways. Firstly, as far as identity is concerned, I think as a Black woman, it's important for us to take up spaces in leadership. And secondly, as far as ideology is certain, my capacity as a queer person will also enable me to represent that specific part of the student body. What I bring specifically as far as representation is concerned is radical visibility to marginalized groups of people. I believe that is very important because that informs strategic policy policy implementation that is actually effective and actually impactful on the ground. And I'm very, very excited for this opportunity to meet with all these lovely people and have a productive conversation. Thank you so much.
All right, absolutely incredible. Her name is Mambo Mkhize, and now we move swiftly along to the Economic Freedom Fighters representative, igama lakhe uZinhle Sithole. Mfowethu job isikhathi sakho siqala khona manje.
Good afternoon to the listeners at home and people who are here in the studio. My name is Zinhle Sithole from the EFF Student Command. I'm the part of the leadership of the EFF Student Command at APK branch. As the EFF Student Command is the only movement that is ready to respond to the issues of the students without looking race, without looking gender, without looking the economic spectrum that they are coming from. During the registration period, we assisted students that the ANC have left them in the middle of the year, who didn't have funding, who were defunded by NSFAS during June when the introduction of NORACO. We then assisted them with clearing their fees through the SRC-led SRC Trust Fund that we used this year. We assisted students, we unblocked NSFAS students in the first week of February, those who were before even receiving the NSFAS list. We assisted students, those who were dealing with AOD, we drive their price to 30% when we're negotiating for the AOD. We assisted students that were dealing with academic exclusion during January. We represent them in board and assist them in writing the motivational letters. We assisted students in giving them the meal assistance that have dignity. Even now, when we are going to get a meal assistance at APK campus, we are going to get, if you're a female, we are going to get sanitary pads in your meal assistance. That's the EFF Student Command that is SRC leading.
All right, and your time runs out just like that, my sir. That is uZinhle Sithole representing the EFF. Right before that, Uzwe Mambo Mkhize, an independent candidate from SASCO. You heard Mandisa Hadebe, and opening things up was Ucelo Guhle coming through with from the United Africans Transformation Tomorrow's Future. I want us to pay some bills, get a chance to take a listen to what Branch gets up to during the week 9 to 12, and then on the other side of that siyangena ke kuleya ngqephu yethu lapho sike sithi ke na qhude manike izindala zombili seyithathana ke manje ibamba nangehluthu kuba mnandi kubanje. Of course, trying to make sure that you listening as a UJ student are able to make informed and sound decisions come the SRC elections this coming October. 011 559 1653 is where you can get in contact with us. Kuzo ukuthi wena olwakho uvo luthini.
UJFM Brunch. UJFM Brunch.
9 to 12 p.m. It's Hustler's Corner, and today we're talking about what investment strategies are there, especially for beginners. So investment is the action of investing money for profit. So when you invest this money, you are expecting the return on investment. I feel like a lot of people tend to miss these goals when it comes to investment, is that you need to be able to set clear goals. You need to define what your investment objectives are, whether it is savings, whether it is retirement, whether it is pension as well. Investment is a journey. It's not just something that comes jiggy, you're here and you're done. It takes a long period of time. It is essential for you to be patient, to be disciplined, and to be informed.
UJFM Brunch. UJFM Brunch.
9 to 12 p.m.
UJFM Insights, 12 to 3 p.m.
We have a UGenius member joining us in studio right now. Her name is Ukutlwano Zimu. She's a second-year law student.
UJFM Insights.
Take me to your day. How does your day look like as a hard-working UGenius Club member?
First and foremost, I put 8 hours of study or more. So then the minimum is 8 hours. I do have a social life.
Sure.
I do other things. Like I'm part of excellence. I'm part of rest culture at risk. But I'm all about study.
How do you then balance your studies with your social life? What do you do for fun?
I have a schedule for everything.
Beautiful.
I know that at 5 I'll be doing this, and I think me having a schedule really helps me so much to balance my life and ensure that I live a well-balanced life. I don't group, that's what I'm trying to say. But I play sports. I'm a very active person when it comes to sports, so I play netball, and that's what I do to distress.
Ukutlwano Zimu, the UGenius Club member here at the University of Johannesburg.
UJFM Insights, 12 to 3 p.m. UJFM Brunch. UJFM Brunch.
9 to 12 p.m. It's Hustler's Corner, and today we're talking about what investment strategies are there, especially for beginners. So investment is the action of investing investing money for profit. So when you invest this money, you are expecting the return on investment. I feel like a lot of people tend to miss these goals when it comes to investment, is that you need to be able to set clear goals. You need to define what your investment objectives are, whether it is savings, whether it is retirement, whether it is pension as well. Investment is a journey. It's not just something that comes jiggy jiggy here and you're done. It takes a long period of time. It is essential for you to be patient, to be disciplined, and to be informed.
UJFM Brunch. UJFM Brunch.
9 to 12 p.m. UJFM 95.4.
We are at the Combating Corruption Summit. We have Dan Corder.
When we think about corruption, we think government problem. And yes, the government is mired in corruption, but you know what corrupt people in government need to be corrupt? Private sector. They need consultancy firms to give good advice that then leads to opportunities for corruption. They need an auditing firm to say, oh no, these books are clean. And they also need banks. I think it is hard for us everyday South Africans to hear a story about corruption and understand how it affects my life. But with corruption, money that should go to a tender doesn't go to that tender. And so what the tender is supposed to provide never happens. And we as humans struggle to understand that. Corruption affects all of us in a very, very real way. If you've got a pothole on your street, part of the reason why is corruption, money stealing.
UJFM 95.4.
Dynamically shaping the future. SRC Debates, broadcasting from the UJFM studios from Monday the 23rd of September to Thursday the 26th of September, 2 to 3 p.m. Call in on 011-559-1653 or WhatsApp us at 074-322-2355.
Right, there you have it, 18 after the hour, 2 o'clock. You tuned into UJFM Insights with myself, Uzetembe. Of course, chilling with the UJAPK SRC candidates, Celo Kuhle, Zinhle, Mandisa, and Mambo. Mandisa representing SASCO, Zinhle representing the EFF, Celo Kuhle representing the United African Transformation Tomorrow's Future, and of course, Umambo Mkhize, who is an independent candidate. Now, I want us to get into the nitty-gritty of our conversations a bit. Earlier on, we did touch on our opening statements, some of the things that you stand for, but also your stances on our topic for today, which is representation in the SRC and whether it does ensure effective leadership. And representing the EFF, of course, you did mention quite a number of things, but I believe because of time, you were not able to cover everything in detail. Some of the things that you did as the EFF, as the ruling party currently at APK, at the beginning of the year to help out students. I think you mentioned the AODs, the acknowledgement of debt as part of that registration fees and all. Please expand on that, and give us an idea maybe of specific numbers as to, the amount of students you were able to help and an estimation of maybe the amounts of money that were spent in trying to help those students. Sure.
Thank you very much. In terms of the registration fee that we usually paid for students using SRC Trust Fund, we paid around 9,000 students. We're paying for them the registration fee. We speak about postgraduate students and first year and some students that are facing an appeals issues. Then during that time, we then assisted some of the students clearing some of their debts that got 100% past their modules. Those are some of the criteria that was used.
Okay.
Looking the matter that some of the students last year lost their funding with the introduction of NORACO during June. When they lost their funding, it left them with a debt in university. Then such students were then able to assist them through the SRC Trust Fund.
And I mean, another issue that normally rises with Zinhle, mangabe sikhuluma nge-SRC, someone might say that I have not received usizo le-SRC because angibazi ukuthi abantu abakuphi. I don't know where their offices are. I don't see them anywhere. I don't even know that I have people like them who can help me with some of the issues that I face. So speaking to that promotion, do you think you guys are out there enough for all students to know that they are represented by you and that there are services that you are able to help them with?
Yes, we're everywhere. We're everywhere. When you come to January, we're the first movement in this APK campus to arrive and assist students. And when you're going to first year, you're going to find fighters there waiting for you to assist you. When you go to social media, fighters were ready to respond to messages of the students. Our numbers were circulated in social media. Maybe we can little bit late on social media, but that way we're moving in that space now.
Okay.
But beside that, we're always on the ground. Many first years this year were assisted by us. Many students used to get us in first year parking when they were dealing with their AOD, and we take them to campus and register them without paying anything.
No, ngozwa kahle. And of course, now I'm going to move to you, my ladies. I believe, Uguti, when you go and you contend for this SRC elections, it means you think there's something maybe our current ruling party is not doing right. What are some of your concerns around that? What are some of the things that you are bringing to the table? You knew. What are you saying? Well, this should change. That's why I am here. I'm going to start with you, Mandisa Hadebe, representing the SASCO.
Well, thank you. I'm going to first start by returning back to the introductory statement of the EFF Student Command. The claim by the EFF Student Command that they represent students regardless of gender, economic status, and race may appear inclusive on the surface, but true representation, as the scope of the discussion currently, true representation goes beyond mere rhetoric. It requires visible, consistent actions and policies that specifically address the unique challenges faced by genders and different students in different socio-economic classes, especially marginalized groups such as women and the LGBTQI community. Now, the EFF is failing to ask relevant questions or state relevant statements, right? It's failing to campaign for relevant causes.
Okay.
Instead, they go and host a bash. I remember there was a bash recently. Instead of addressing student concerns with using the SRC budget, for example, the budget as SASCO we believe should be diverted into addressing student issues such as food insecurities through initiatives such as GOG, for example. Furthermore, we're supposed to be seeing a relationship between the EFF Student Command in their own formal capacity as the current SRC, SAPS and the municipality in advocating for issues such as student safety, which is a prevalent issue right now on main campuses.
Sure. And maybe to answer that, where was Zinhle, of course, representing the EFF, the current ruling party, what do you say to these claims raised by Umandisa Hadebe right now? Do you think that you, instead of addressing the right and relevant issues, as she stated in her own words, ni abantu mhlambe who prioritize other things, such as a bash, as she said? Yeah.
So in terms of the bash, remember, we have a sport office there. In terms of the sport office, it has its own criteria, what must happen on that criteria, and they have their own budget. So you cannot search budget to relate it to other issues. In terms of in terms of saying that we are not assisting in terms of food parcel, if you can go and check food parcels now, they've improved. Food parcel, if you have a woman, you're going to go and get food parcel, you get sanitary pads. You go to campus clinic, you get sanitary pads. It's because of the EFF Student Command led SRC. It's not because of the other organization. It's because of the EFF Student Command told that the GOG that you must provide sanitary pads for women. During the registration period, we ourselves negotiated that every student, because they just came back from home, every student must get food parcel, which just providing a proof of registration. And on that food parcel, some of the food parcel had roll-ons. We're using what? The SRC budget. In sport office, students were crying. If you are going to say students were crying about a bash, we couldn't provide a bash, a first year bash. If you can go to the ground and ask students about the first year bash, they want it. But we can't provide it. With the little budget that we have, we are bringing proper artists, famous artists. Last week we had Black Diamond.
Is your priority bashes, for example, entertainment?
Yeah.
It's not issues such as making sure that campuses have free sanitary towels in all the bathrooms, or making sure or fighting for causes such as more unisex bathrooms for the representations of and for the inclusivity of the LGBTQI community. Is your purpose the thing that you are fighting for
thank
as
you
the
very
EFF?
much. You have touched on the question of the toilet that accommodates everyone, unisex. Those toilets are there in library. They are being experimented. We are in negotiation. Such policies need to be approved on Senate. Who sits on Senate? At the EFF Student Command, we are on campus level. Some decision cannot be taken on campus level, can be taken on central. Who sits in central? Who is the Secretary General of this institution? It's coming from SASCO. who's the president of this institution, is coming from SASCO. Such decision must be taken there, because if you are going to change toilet, you can't change it only in APK. You must change all campuses.
However, you've had a lot of years to make a decent change, I believe, and I believe my further panelists that I have here could agree with me that you have been in power as EFF.
And whilst you're on that, please jump in as well. I'm
going back to January, right? We also help, even though we are not SRC, we also help with the applications when students come for financial aid or whatever. So where do I get the help, right? Because you're saying you guys helped a lot of students, right? We have a lot of students where they couldn't register because of space constraints. I'm a third-year student, but I had the possibility of not registering because we had the thing of space constraints, right? Because of now, I don't know how that happens. And you say you helped. Even the SRC Trust Fund comes late. You know that time is ticking. And then it starts replying to certain students when their courses are already filled up. So I don't know how you guys are going to deal with that, and that's what I wanted to mention. And to the entertainment part also, I don't feel like bashes are important. We know why sometimes bashes are not being held. It's because of the dangers that happen. There's a lot of students going to those bashes.
Exactly.
So we should not be focusing on that as leadership. You should not be focusing on the entertainment of students. There is entertainment that the school does. We should the school should keep that, not SRC focusing on entertainment. You guys should be focusing on what student needs. The food parcels part, I don't remember the January food parcels, I'm not gonna lie, and currently the food parcels are only going to people that have no funding. I'm not saying that it's wrong, but also as an NSFAS student, there is a few NSFAS students that have to, let's say, take money back home. I'm not saying they need to, but there's a few NSFAS students that take money back home and they find that they cannot afford the food anymore. And currently right now, I need a ticket to go and get the financial, the food parcel from the university. So I'm not getting when you say, the food parcels have now, I've never seen it. They have now pads, they have roll-on, they are not there. We are not seeing it.
Yeah, and before Zinhle ungene yabona ngifuna ukuthi umamba angene ngimuza ukuthi uthini, so that when you answer you can answer
just respond everyone,
because
responding one-to-one is creating dialogue. I don't want dialogue.
Oh, okay.
I'm not here for dialogue.
Mambo Mkhize, let's get right to you, my lady.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I think before we start, we have to note a fallacy that's being pushed by the current EFF representative here. And that is to say that the university systems that support the SRC are not directly linked to the EFF itself. These are university structures that exist regardless of whoever comes into power. If tomorrow, like John Doe were to come in and be like the SRC and his mates, those very same structures of the SRC Trust Fund, those very same structures of like governance that the university puts in place specifically to support student representative would still exist. That's just a fallacy that I want us to make sure that we're all clear on, and not necessarily and not let misinformation spread by letting the EFF take credit for university and institutional structures that exist. Secondly, then, I think the most important critique that is being addressed from the entire panel, and myself included, is the fact that the EFF finds it difficult to navigate bureaucracy and navigate that bureaucracy to effectively meet student needs. What do we mean by this? A clear example is GOG, right? In the beginning of the year, you had a hectic system where students would line up from 8 in the morning until 4 o'clock waiting to get food parcels that just never came, right? Because the demand of students, there was just way too many students to meet that demand. But secondly to that then, in order to try mitigate this, what the EFF implemented is like an electronic system that was way too complicated, that excluded vast majority of students who are in need, but also students who couldn't necessarily register on the very same electronic system that they implemented to try and mitigate this dire need, right? And so with that, we think that even with the EFF's implementation of resolving policies, they're not necessarily effective because they struggle to navigate not only the bureaucratic needs of students, but second, the bureaucratic structures of the university, but secondly, the actual scope of needs of students. We think that they entirely focus more on power oligopolies and maintaining powers instead of actually meeting people on the ground. That is a very valid critique, I think, that the entire student body is currently pointing towards the EFF structures.
All right. Jobes Buyegwenage, the ladies have said their part. What are your responses to all these claims?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
They spoke about sanitary pads. I'll respond that. You can go now and check campus clinic. You'll get them.
Sure.
I'm not hallucinating. It's fact. They can go and check it after this meeting. They are females, by the way. They are going to go and check it. So, and then we're going to go to space constraint. It's an institutional. It's a broad question. Space constraint. It's an issue that we're dealing with in the country. University can't take up many capacities. We have how many graduate university now was reporting during June that they have application more than 600,000 and they have a space of 10,000. They publish it for that, but ourselves, we say that we're going university must increase the capacity of how many students they're going to take. Because you cannot tell me that you're going to take 10,000 when you have 1,000, you have 600 or close to 600,000 application. How many students are going to be left outside the system? And remember, in this country, we are dealing with an issue of universities. Can't take many students. We're going to have grade 12s. This is we're going to December. We're going to have grade 12 that are going to sit on their last papers. They are going to amount more than 1 million. But the space of universities doesn't even amount to 50% of that. Then what you're going to tell me? What type of situation are we creating in the country? That one, you cannot deal it only. We're in negotiating of that. That the institution must increase its capacity.
Yeah.
And then I want to respond to all questions. They spoke about structures of SRC Trust Fund. That's this from the institutions myself. But it's led by the SRC, by the way. The SRC have a way there. That's why it's called SRC Trust Fund.
Yeah.
And it was introduced during our time, by the way. That is one of our victories, by the way. Yeah. Thank you very much. And then they spoke about food parcels.
Yeah.
They touched the issues of food parcel. The issue of food parcel, I cannot. She speak about NSFAS student. We're not saying NSFAS student must not get food parcel, but our priority now, with the limited resources we are having, are students that are unfunded, are students that are waiting for NSFAS to approve.
Yeah.
Their loans. Now we just receive a list. The students since January, they never receive anything. Such student must be prioritized. You cannot tell me then you cannot prioritize such student who never get any money from anywhere else. So the such student are those students that we prioritize. We're not saying that NSFAS student. Such time when NSFAS student didn't get allowances, we provided them. In January, we did that. It's a proof. You can go and check.
And maybe address also the issue of effectiveness, because I think that's another issue that she raised to Wuti. You find that it's long lines and sometimes not everyone gets to, get what they were lining up for. Hours and hours. What do you say to that?
In that issue, we are trying to deal with that issue.
Sure.
That's why we're trying to introduce the system. The new system has challenges. And in this new system has challenges. When a student has come, we are not going to send back the student and say, go back home.
Sure.
Because the system is not working. We are going to assist the student. The student will leave with their food parcel on that day. We are always available in SRC, 24 hours.
Okay. Zwakala kahle. We have Teloguhle Zinhle Mandisa and Mambo in studio. Of course, we are in attendance of the SRC debate taking place here at the UJFM studios. We're live on 95.4 on the UJFM app, on the UJTV platforms as well. 011-559-1653. I'm taking your calls right about now. I want to know what your thoughts are on this one. I see some voice notes coming in as well as some text messages coming through on our WhatsApp line. Of course, these are the details coming up right shortly. Also, I want us to now move into you ladies on the other side of paying some bills. I want to find out from you, what are the specific plans that are you bringing forward? What are the specific plans that you are putting to the table? Because I don't want us to just only, as we have, which is very incredible and very important in a democratic university such as the University of Johannesburg, to hold the ruling party accountable, but also as you are contending for the SRC elections, what are you bringing to the table?
SRC Debates, broadcasting from the UJFM studios from Monday the 23rd of September to Thursday the 26th of September, 2 to 3 p.m. Call in on 011-559-1653 or WhatsApp us at 074-322-2355. UJFM Insights, 12 to 3 p.m.
We have a UGenius member joining us in studio right now. Her name is Ukutlwano Zimu. She's a second-year law student.
UJFM Insights.
Take me into your day. How does your day look like as a hard-working UGenius club member?
First and foremost, I put 8 hours of study or more. So then the minimum is 8 hours. I do have a social life.
Sure.
I do other things. Like I'm part of excellence. I'm part of rest culture at risk, but I'm all about study.
How do you then balance your studies with your social life? What do you do for fun?
I have a schedule for everything.
Beautiful.
I know that at 5 I'll be doing this, and I think me having a schedule really helps me so much to balance my life and ensure that I live a well-balanced life. I don't group, that's what I'm trying to say. But I play sports. I'm a very active person when it comes to sports, so I play netball, and that's what I do to distress.
Ukutlwano Zimu, the UGenius club member here at the University of Johannesburg.
UJFM Insights, 12 to 3 p.m.
The internet that never stops for 49 Rand a gig. Enjoy the most affordable rates on SMSs and voice calls to any network in South. Now that's power. That's Amandla Mobile.
Viva to Amandla Mobile, the internet that never stops for 49 Rand a gig. Visit amandlamobile.com for no contracts, no credit checks or hidden terms, and experience quick Rika and SIM activation. Now that's power. That's Amandla Mobile.
SRC Debates, broadcasting from the UJFM studios from Monday the 23rd of September to Thursday the 26th of September, 2 to 3 p.m. Call in on 011-559-1653 or WhatsApp us at 074-322-2355.
It's 38 after the hour, 2 o'clock. On the way later on this year is the SRC elections. And today we are hosting candidates from the biggest University of Johannesburg campus, that being the APK campus. We have Ucelo Guhle representing the United Africans Transformation Tomorrow's Future. We also have Uzinhle representing the Economic Freedom Fighters. Mandisa Hadebe representing SASCO, and Umambo Mkize, who's an independent candidate. Soon enough, we find out from the, I would say, opposition parties what it is that they are bringing to the table. But for now, Mfokas Tole, back to you once again. Naturally, as the ruling party, you are the one that we are just gunning for, because we want to hold you accountable, and of course you have to account to the students if you are a representative to the students. We have Ule Rato here who's coming through on our WhatsApp line. Utige yena, I am a student at UJAPK, and I just want to ask the EFF representative in studio right now, especially regarding to the topic for today around representation, especially racially and gender-wise. I don't see that reflected on the EFF committees. That's something that they do not prioritize as per the constitution of the SRC here at the University of Johannesburg. Take it away, please.
Thank you very much. I'll start responding on the question of gender. When I'm going to respond on gender, by the way, the ex-officials of the EFF Joint Command led SRC at APK, it's male and women. I don't know what they're speaking about. It's been 2 years. It's not by a mistake. It's done purposefully, because the organization of the EFF clearly states, even on our constitution of the EFF Joint, because we are guided by the EFF Joint Command constitution and of the university. First, the EFF Joint Command constitution. The EFF Joint Command constitution says that in the top 5 of any structure, there must be inclusion of women. We prioritize that, and even you can go and check now the SRC, you will find that. I'm not hallucinating, I'm speaking facts. We're going to go to race. In terms of the race, the organization depend on the database that they have. How many members from other races are signing the EFF Joint Command membership? But when we're going to the SRC, they were the one that was assisting in a list of student parliament. When the SRC was assisting in the list of student parliament, it included other races. You can go and check now in student parliament.
Such as, maybe just to make it very clear, and then based on facts.
Yes,
outside of black people,
it's white people. They were there on the list. Colored were there on the list. The current chairperson ensure with secretary that list is broadly, when we have just 30 delegates from campus level, it's broadly different on those. because we are trying to bring them to the point that we are not outside you. We are fighting for everyone, and all your voice must be expressed in every. And that board, the student parliament, it's a board of the institution, and to take people to there, I don't know if it seems some way. It's what are they saying? Because we are doing it. All things that they're saying we're not doing it.
All right, Lerato, I would hope that you were answered. Now, I want us to speak to the ladies that we have in studio with us. Ladies, if you are contending once again for the SRC elections, it means there must be a gap. There must be a gap that you see somewhere that you wish to close, a gap that you wish to be, a full participant in making sure that that gap is not seen, say, in the next year, because we have annual elections, by the way. So I want to start with you, representing, of course, the United Africans Transformation Tomorrow's Future. What is that gap that you just want to close should you be given the power of leading the SRC?
Kanimambo again. As the United Africans Transformation Tomorrow's Future, we just want to make things easier for students.
Okay.
You know, I said something about space constraints, and you thought that I'm saying that the space is no. I want things to be easier. You know, it's more about time management. I feel like this the SRC didn't have any time management, so we want to make sure that resources come at the time that students need them. I don't want to be on site 6 weeks later when the registration has closed. You know, and as we also in our manifesto we're going to outline the 7 pillars to ensure academic excellence, financial inclusivity, and holistic well-being. We prioritize inclusive learning, financial inclusion, and comfortable accommodation to foster academic access. Our health and wellness initiatives are also going to touch base. We're going to touch base on that to make sure that students, especially with the UJ clinic, have a better way of applying to go to the clinic, because if currently we see like people are staying up late to see if there's going to be space. We want to make that easy, even if it has to be a walk-in. We want a student to be able to get the health benefit they want to have at that moment, at the time they really need it. And we want to have better social and sports development, which is going to be crucial. And for NSFAS students, I feel like I talk more about that because if it touches home, I want to make sure that they get what they need. You know, the budget, I want even if it's 2,000, we just want the NSFAS students to get what they need. So yeah, that's what United Africans Transformation
and maybe
is about.
one is wondering, someone who's not an NSFAS student, what do the NSFAS students need? Maybe in detail a bit, yeah.
Personally, I get, let's say, 1,650, right? And with that, it's food, toiletries, like he always speaks about sanitaries. Those are very expensive currently. And it seems like the NSFAS is giving us an amount of money that it's okay. I'm not going to complain about it, but I feel like we would like more, you know? And the time that it comes at, we don't know when it comes. My grocery would finish on the 25th, and for the remaining 10 days, I have nothing, because maybe it comes on the 6th. So we want to make sure, like I said, time. I want something to be given to students the time they need it. I don't want it to come later on. And then at that moment, I'm not even there anymore, you know? So that's what I want, time management to that's our goal. And yeah.
All right, United Africans Transformation Tomorrow's Future. We're moving swiftly along to SASCO, represented by Mandisa Hadebe. Mandisa, what gap do you want to close? What is that open gap right now that you just want as SASCO to fully fill, and it never is there ever again in the future?
Okay, I will answer directly to the point of our discussion right now, which is the role of representation in ensuring effective leadership, right? I mean, for us, we recognize that at the heart of representation is the principle of inclusion and voice. Being able to be an advocate for students is what effective and impactful leadership is about. If an SRC is inclusive and there's diversity, this reflects the principles of SASCO, as seen with one of our SRC candidates of the previous year, an international student, because we believe that if we were to wage a war, we must wage a war that will also address the challenges faced by international students, not only South African students. Another perspective under inclusivity as SASCO, we also understand some of our students are part of the LGBTQI plus community, and ours is based on a commitment to ensure that their rights and dignity are protected within the institution. Remember earlier on I had mentioned something about the importance of voice when we talk about representation. In order to promote effective leadership within SRC, students that are part of the LGBTQI community must also have a sit-in terms of making decisions in the board of SRC. We also call for the representation of the religious community, this being church leaders and African traditional societies. We need to ensure that in policymaking decisions, their perspectives in regards to religion are heard. When we talk about economic representation, we need to also include the missing middle. In our fight, yes, central to our advocacy is underprivileged students. However, we cannot ignore the struggles of the missing middle. Outside of representation, ours as SASCO is to champion and advocate for better infrastructure, increased safety on and off campus, not only at APK, by the way, also at DFC, APB, and all our main campuses. And increased food security for students, regardless of their economical background. Thank you.
All right. And of course, to our independent candidate, her name is Mambo Mkhize. Mambo, do take it away. What gap are you closing should you be given the power?
Definitely. So I think what we've heard, especially from SASCO, and I concur, is the idea of inclusivity, right? That's a value that is highly recognized and highly valued. The gap that I think I could specifically fill then within the inclusivity format is that of radical visibility. What do I mean by this? The position I'm specifically running for is a transformation and gender equity policy officer, right? So in that position, I have 3 demographics that I specifically would like to highlight. Firstly, that of the working class. Secondly, women. And thirdly, queer people. What do I mean? Specific policies that I would potentially implement if I were to advocate for the working class. On ULink, we have a students' jobs portal that seemingly doesn't work, right? That system is meant to empower students of the working class to uplift themselves through economic disenfranchisement, right? That is going to exist alongside current systems like the GOG, but we think it's important for students to be able to economically uplift themselves. And so that is a first gap that I would like to attend to. Secondly, that of women, I think it's very important to highlight that women ought to have free sanitary dispensers in bathrooms. Why is this the case? This is not something that is necessarily new. We already see it being done currently with contraceptives, right? So we think that this is something that is achievable within campus, and it's not something that is too far out the picture. I think that visibility is very important. Thirdly, then, as far as the queer community, and more specifically gender non-conforming students, that is a demographic that has been highly ignored within UJ for the longest time. I think a way in which you could make visibility more effective and meaningful for those students is specifically to have more, for example, gender non-conforming bathrooms beyond just the library at level 1 at APK, but having more of those throughout campus. But secondly, then, actively promoting safe spaces for those students within student life and residencies, right? We think it's important. UP already does this. We think it's important to have residencies for specifically gender non-conforming and transgender students, right? So that's another way we could promote visibility. So those are my 3 key demographics that I would like to highlight within UJ APK, running as the Transformation and Gender Equity Policy Officer. Thank you so much.
All right. And ngiyacabanga ukuthi masiyivala sesingayivala kuwena Mfoka Sithola. Unless anybody has something to say, you'll just raise your hand because we have dedicated this entire hour for you all. And so if there's still something more you'd like to say, you are more than free. But get back to you, Zinhle Sithole, representing the EFF, the current ruling party at APK. Why you again? Someone is asking themselves, well, Nkosi yami na unyaka uyaphela, another year the EFF. Why you again as we go into these elections?
We've decided that to contest again for the to defend this campus. Do some few things that we need to do.
Yeah.
One of the things that in terms of economic presentation, we have missing middle students. Missing middle students during the January period, they are facing issues of owing the institution. So I think there must be change of policies, like the 50% policy of AUD must be changed to 30% policy, 30%. And then you're going to speak about international students. International students, they are obligated to pay 30% upfront amount. And if you can check, they've even increased last year fees. So it become very difficult for these students because now they have to pay for visas and everything, while in that time they have to pay the upfront payment. So I think there must be negotiation there. And then we're going to check in terms of campus health. There must be change in campus. You can't have appointment for sickness. you can't say sickness doesn't say leadership. We're coming tomorrow. Tomorrow going to be sick. So you cannot appoint for sickness. The campus health must change that system of appointment. And then we're going to check in terms of gender transformation, and we're in process of negotiating that thing of universal toilets. And some things cannot just be taken. We're in negotiation, and if we're going to get approval from the university, then we're going to fast track that process. And we're going to assist students in issues in F7. In F7 appeals, we're going to write for them motivational letters. We're going to continue assisting them like we did this year. And in terms of NSFAS increment, NSFAS increment, some leaders touch the NSFAS increment. You cannot increase NSFAS increment at the university. It increase on NSFAS board. So that thing needs SAWUSA. So SAWUSA is led by the ANC. It's led by SASCO. There's a SASCO secretary there who's the spokesman of SAWUSA. Those are the people that speak with NSFAS, and in terms of when they're going to increase the money. So such issues must be related to such organizations.
Okay. Just because of time purposes, going to wrap it up just like that. Thank you all so much for making time for us this afternoon as we keep on trying to raise awareness around these elections, but also just make sure that the students make sound and informed decisions come the SRC elections later on this year. You respected one another. I know, it's 4 different bodies here, which means differing views from time to time, but I do believe that you did treat with each other with utmost respect, and we truly do appreciate all of that. All the best coming up, of course, for the SRC isilungu sihamba manje kunini kade ngikwijiza isilungu sihamba manje, kodwa nje all the best with the SRC elections later on this year. We truly do wish you all the best. Thank you so much. That is Ucelo Kuhle. Please help me with your surname, my lady. Ramuiteki.
Yes,
oh, Mutswana, representing the United Africans Transformation Tomorrow's Future. If what she said you liked, of course, she's the one you should vote for. But if you say no, I think the EFF has been doing a great job and I trust them going forward. Uzinhle Sithole lo ubumuzwa emsakazweni wakho namhlanje. And from SASCO, Mandisa Hadebe, and that independent candidate with quite a voice that I thought you wanted to steal my job, by the way. I was like, what is that voice, my lady? Huh? Her name is Umambo Mkhize. In closing, anyone would like to say anything? Yes, my lady?
I would like to go first
Sure.
in terms of closing. Directly to the EFF, it is both misleading and unfair for the EFF Student Command to claim sole credit for the ongoing work to ensure student health, access to education through, for example, funding and accommodation, especially at the beginning of the year when SASCO has also employed initiatives such as the Right to Learn. When this has also been a collective effort driven by a broad coalition of stakeholders, including student activism and, of course, our independent candidates over here. SASCO's stance on representation is about creating a leadership that reflects the diversity of the student population, ensuring that policies and actions are inclusive and equitable, and advocating for systematic change and at all levels. That is why we say an SRC can never be an effective SRC if it represents the voice of a few, which is the case with our current SRC, as pointed out by one of our listeners earlier. Thank you.
All right. Ngiyabona noSithole ufisa ukuvala laphana vala mfowethu Ngozi.
Thank you very much. I want to tell the listeners at home that they must remember those leaders who were with them during the registration period, which was the EFF Student Command. I want to remind that student that they must remember when on 9 October, who they must vote for, who were with them when they were facing issues of student debt. I want to remember that student that they must vote for the EFF Student Command that was with them when they had issues in Lontos, in passes, in their races. I want to remind them that they must remember the EFF Student Command on 9 October. That was with them in providing sanitary pads in the entire whole year.
All right. Nizwa kahle sibonga kakhulu ukuthi nisijoyine namhlanje. Sivala kanjalo ke. We are back again tomorrow 2 to 3 o'clock. We are getting into the SRC debate. You want to stick around for that, live on 95.4, the UJFM app, and of course live on UJ TV. We're also actually live on our social media platforms, on our Instagram pages. You want to give us a follow so that you are notified when we do go live. The number to dial whenever we are in conversations with these candidates, 011 559 1653. And of course our WhatsApp line. This was the second day of SRC debate. Bye.
SRC Debates, broadcasting from the UJFM studios from Monday the 23rd of September to Thursday the 26th of September, 2 to 3 p.m. Call in on 011 559 1653 or WhatsApp us at 074 322 2355.
UJFM Insights, 12 to 3 p.m. We have a UGenius member joining